Want to welcome everybody to the Women's Travel Club Travel Talk Show. We do this every couple of weeks and try and go to and look at interesting and different destinations and kind of try and take you there and show you what these destinations have to offer. This week, we're going to go to the Galapagos Islands. This is one of my favorite trips. Anyone that knows me knows that I love anything with nature and animals, and definitely the Galapagos Islands has all of that in spades. It's what they're known for. So it also has the fun option of, with our tour, we do a private catamaran. So it's just the women from the Women's Travel Club that are on our catamaran, and it makes for a great trip with a lot of fun, good evenings, to get to know each other and spend time doing things on the boat, and great exploration during the day with just our group. So without any more time, it looks like we've got a good number of people that have joined us. So let's start and let's move on to the Galapagos. So the Galapagos are in Ecuador. So we'll start with just a little overview of Ecuador itself. It's not surprise you to find out that the country is called Ecuador because the equator actually runs through it. And it has some of the finest colonial architecture in the Americas. It's recognized as the producer of the highest quality cacao, so that's chocolate, in the world. Ecuador is also the orchid capital of the world and has over 4,000 species of these beautiful plants. Our Galapagos tour is just going to briefly be on the mainland before we head out to the Galapagos Islands. So if you really want to see more of Ecuador, we do also offer an Ecuador tour in conjunction with our Galapagos, and that will take you all through Ecuador. Ecuador straddles the equator, and it's on South America's west coast. Its capital is Quito, and the Galapagos Islands are about 1,000 kilometers off the coast. Very diverse landscape and areas in the Ecuador. We have, running right down through the middle of Ecuador, is going to be the Andes Mountains. So very mountainous right here. Quito, which is the capital, is at elevation, so it's quite high here. And then over on this side, in all the green, is the Amazon. And then out here in the Pacific Ocean, we have the Galapagos. So a lot of different ecosystems going on in just this one country. Quito is the capital of Ecuador, and this is where we're going to start our Galapagos tour. There's a couple of ways to fly into the Galapagos, and one is from Quito. So you can't fly, say, direct from Toronto or New York into the Galapagos. You're going to have to stop in Ecuador, in Quito, for at least, usually a night. So we have a night before and a night after our Galapagos tour is in Quito, and that's just to get you there, to give you time to get your flight over to the Galapagos. The population of Quito is almost 2 million, and it is the highest constitutional capital in the world. So as I mentioned, a little bit at elevation there. It is just south of the equator, and as we mentioned, it's a starting point for many Galapagos trips. So from Quito, we're going to fly over to the Galapagos. That's going to be about a 3-hour flight, and we're going to the small island of Baltra. This picture is actually a picture I took in the Galapagos. It's a little bit fuzzy because I had to blow it up for the presentation, but I just wanted to show you the diversity of animals and the number of animals is amazing. So in this just one picture, we have a ray, we have a sea lion, and we have a pelican. There was also a little tiny shark swimming around kind of with all these guys too. It looked like something off of, you know, the school scene in Finding Nemo, with all these wild animals just together, hanging out, kind of swimming around together. And I thought it was a great picture to start to show you just the diversity of animals. Also of note is that the Galapagos themselves are pretty much a large national park. 90% of the landmass is national park. The remaining 3% is where the inhabitants of about 30,000 people live. So let's have a look at some of the islands that we could see in the Galapagos. We're going to visit a few of them, and we're going to look also at what the island has to offer and what animals and wildlife we might see at that island. So we're going to start in this little island here, right close to Baltra where we landed, and it's North Seymour Island. It's a rather small island, covering just over 0.73 square miles or 1.9 square kilometers. The island has a lovely visitor trail that runs for about 1.2 miles, approximately 2 kilometers across the island, running inland before reaching the coastline. It got its name from a man called Lord Hugh Seymour. This English gentleman was born into one of the wealthiest families in England during the 18th century and was considered a brave and groundbreaking Royal Navy officer. The wildlife in North Seymour is going to be mostly bird-oriented, which makes it a lovely place for bird watchers and ornithologists to visit. Pretty much, if you're a bird watcher, you need to go to the Galapagos. The birds there are just amazing, and it's unbelievable how close you can get to them, to all the wildlife. They have no real natural predators in the Galapagos, and all the wildlife, you have to step over some of it because they just don't move for you. So let's start with some of the wildlife. We're going to start with these guys who are some of the most famous birds from the Galapagos. And they're the blue-footed booby. They're aptly named because of their blue feet, and males take great pride in their fabulous feet. During mating rituals, the male birds show off their feet to prospective mates with a high stepping strut. The bluer the feet, the more attractive they are for their mate. The other part of the name, booby, is reportedly taken from the Spanish for stupid, bobo, and it refers to the bird's tameness around people. They not only live in the Galapagos, but up the Pacific coast of South America and also in Mexico. This guy's a frigate bird. This magnificent bird is mostly black, but females and young ones have varying amounts of white on their head and chest and belly. Females have a white chest and a dark head. Juveniles start with a white head and belly and gradually obtain darker heads. Young birds also have a pale tan streak in the upper wing. Breeding males are entirely black, save for the bright red throat pouch, which is not always visible, but certainly is in this guy. The frigate birds soar over tropical and subtropical oceans throughout the Americas. They forage in lagoons as well as far out to sea and nest in low-growing shrub vegetation on the islands. Okay, so now we're going to head way up here north to Genovesa Island, which is sometimes called Tower Island. It covers about 5 square miles or 14 square kilometers. And since Genovesa is so far away from the other Galapagos Islands, it's not possible to visit on a day trip. So therefore, you can only visit when you're doing a cruise. And one of the most fascinating things about Genovesa is also the number of bird species that are here. There's also a couple really good walking areas. The Prince Philip Steps on the left and Darwin Bay both have trails that can be followed, and along the way, the naturalist guide will explain wildlife and geology of this fascinating island. It is worth taking these walks as there is a lot to see along the way, and the bird life here is very interesting. So let's have a look at some more. These, I think, are my favorite from the Galapagos, the red-footed boobies. They are, I just think they're so cute with their blue beaks and the red beak. There's a large population of red-footed boobies on Genovesa Island. This is unusual, and you're unlikely to see them anywhere else in the islands. They are powerful and agile flyers, but take off clumsily, and also their landings can be a bit clumsy. Red-footed boobies are the smallest of the birds within the booby species, and on average 28 inches long. Oh, let's just see. Chat. Okay. I just saw a chat come through, so I checked it. But what I'm going to do is, if you have any questions, just save them to the end, and I will we'll have a nice kind of question and answer period at the end, just to be a little easier than trying to watch the questions come through and chats come through while I'm talking. Certainly, you can make comments in the chat and kind of talk amongst yourselves while I talk. But if you have any specific questions, we can save them for the end. Also, on our little trek, we're going to be very lucky to see a Galapagos short-eared owl. They're endemic to Galapagos Islands, and as frequently the case with Galapagos endemics, their coloration is darker and they are smaller than the mainland counterparts. Their name arises from the small ear tufts set near the center of their forehead. They are found in open areas of grassland or lava rock and hunt by flying low over the areas, feeding on rats, lava lizards, and birds. Most owls hunt at night. However, the Galapagos short-eared owl has adapted to hunt in the daytime as well, to avoid competition of the Galapagos hawk. Okay, now we're going to move on to Santa Fe, which is a relatively small island. It's covering 9.3 square miles, or about 24 square kilometers. It's the vegetation providing one of Santa Fe's island highlights. The large cactus, the Optuna echios, which is a prickly pear variety, can be very large, and the island is densely populated with these. They make for quite an unusual sight and popular for plenty of photographs. This island also has a good number of land iguanas. So we're going to have a look at iguanas right now. And there's two types of iguanas you're going to see in the Galapagos. You're going to see marine iguanas, and you're going to see lots of them. And the not quite as common land iguanas or terrestrial iguanas. So the land iguanas are yellow, and they have pointier faces, which allow them to bite off chunks of cactus without getting needles in their eyes, where the marine iguanas are mostly black, and although on some islands they can have a little bit of blue or red, they are the only modern lizards that can forage in the sea. They scrape algae off rocks in the intertidal zone. Their flat faces help them gobble up more algae with each bite. The marine iguanas have large, menacingly sharp claws. These help them grip the rocky sea floor so that the waves do not thrash them about. This guy's a rice rat, and they're the only terrestrial mammal that arrived and settled naturally in the islands. Rice rats are active in the evening to avoid overheating during the day. They are omnivorous and can turn almost anything into a meal. And this little guy's a lava lizard, which you also see a lot of. They're the most abundant reptile found across the Galapagos. They look similar to miniature iguanas and are often found in large groups warming on the sun atop lava, hence the name. Any individual can range from gray to green or brown or even black. The males tend to be brighter colored with yellow specks or gold stripes. The females can have a red throat or head. Okay, and from there we're going to head over to San Cristobal. San Cristobal Island was found at the furthest point, can be found at the furthest point in the Galapagos Islands. It's named after St. Christopher, who's the patron saint of people traveling by sea. The island is fairly large. It covers 215 square miles or 58 square kilometers. It's one of the few that is home to a human population in the Galapagos Islands. It has the second largest population in the islands, approximately 6,000 people, called St. Cristobal home. There is a sanctuary for giant tortoise species, and there is a breeding program here to learn more about the giant tortoises. So let's talk about these guys. The Galapagos giant tortoise is one of the most famous animals of the islands. The islands are actually named after them. Galapagos is an Old English word for tortoise. Giant tortoises are the longest lived of all vertebrates, averaging over 100 years. The oldest on record lived to be 152. The Galapagos giant tortoise spends an average of 16 hours per day resting. The rest of their time is spent eating grasses, fruits, and cactus pads. Galapagos giant tortoise population suffered huge declines due to exploitation by whalers, buccaneers, and fur sealers. At least 3 of the species of giant Galapagos tortoises are thought to have gone extinct. Following the establishment of the Galapagos National Park, eggs were collected from the wild and incubated at the Charles Darwin Research Station. Keeping the newly hatched tortoises in captivity allows them to grow big enough to escape attacks from rats and dogs once they're released. Eradication campaigns are underway which aim to remove the introduced species that threaten the survival of the tortoises. The Galapagos Tortoise Movement Ecology Program, co-funded by GCT, is helping to improve our understanding of giant tortoise migration so more effective management plans can be implemented. And there's 2 main types of these guys. The larger ones with domed shells are the domed tortoise, and the smaller ones with the really long necks are called the saddleback tortoises. And then this guy's fairly famous. This is Lonesome George, and he's perhaps the most famous of all the Galapagos wildlife. He was a giant tortoise thought to be the last of his subspecies who lived to be approximately 100 years old, though not everyone agrees on his age. George was a Pinta Island tortoise, and it had been hoped that more Pinta tortoises could be found so that he could breed. However, none were found. A sizable reward was offered to find Lonesome George a partner. Further attempts were made to help George to breed by placing him with 2 female giant tortoises, and he did indeed mate with one of these in 2008. However, the eggs that resulted proved to be inviable. The same problem occurred 2009 with a different female. However, ultimately, Lonesome George failed to breed in captivity, and he died in 2012. After his death, George was preserved by taxidermists in the US, and since 2017, he's been on display at the Charles Darwin Research Station. So when you visit, you can go see Lonesome George. Oh, another very popular Galapagos animal, and these are also very common. You'll see lots of them, and they don't move for you. So you go around them, you can sit beside them, take pictures. They don't mind at all. The most common native mammal you can see during your Galapagos expedition, a subspecies of the California sea lion. There are an estimated 50,000 individuals in the Galapagos Islands. Bulls can weigh about 550 pounds, but can reach up to 900 pounds. Females weigh about 200 pounds, but on average, but can reach up to 250 pounds. So they're considerably smaller. So it's fairly easy to tell the difference between the males and the females. And you want to do this because while most sea lions are very playful animals, the bulls can be territorial. So you want to kind of stay away from the bulls. However, the females and young ones are very friendly, and you can get pretty close to them. You wouldn't want to try and touch one because they can't bite, but they'll swim with you while you're snorkeling or play next to boats. They're just a lot of fun. We'll have a look at dolphins. There are 5 species of dolphins seen throughout the archipelago. 2 of them, bottlenose dolphins and common dolphins, live in the Galapagos all year round. The other 3 species, spinners, rhesos, and pantropical spotted dolphins, are only seen throughout the islands during their migrating season. Okay, so let's move on to another island here. Espanola is the southernmost island in the archipelago. The island is 23 square miles in size, and it's a relatively flat island. Is a lovely bit of white sand beach, which on your visit you'll no doubt share with a range of sea lions of all sizes. That's one thing with the beaches in the Galapagos. All these islands are so close together, and you'll visit so many different islands, and the beaches can be all very different. So you can have this beautiful white sand beach on one, you can have a very rocky beach on another, deep red sand beach on another island, and the lava rock, which is, it's very volcanic. That's where these islands came from, and so there's a lot of lava rock around. Another fabulous feature in this location is the stunning blowhole, which shoots water up into the air. And these guys are the waved or Galapagos Albatross, and they have such a wonderful little dance. So we're going to kind of watch their dance as I tell you a bit about them. They're the largest of all the Galapagos birds, and it has a wingspan that can reach 2.5 meters long. The Galapagos Albatross is the only bird in the albatross family that can be found living in the tropics. When the Galapagos albatross is walking around on the ground, it seems very clumsy, but in the sky, it soars beautifully and is a sight to behold. The Galapagos albatross engages in a rather elaborate courtship dance that we're seeing here, and if the timing is right, you get lucky enough to see it on one of your trips. The dance involves a good deal of bill circling and bill clacking. There's also head nodding and the birds waddle. Once the albatross has selected a partner, they will mate for life. Taking off can also be tricky for these guys, and as a result, they often run up to the edge of a cliff and just kind of jump off to propel themselves. I love their deep black eyes too. They're just such a pretty bird. Oh, okay, we'll leave those guys alone for now. Now we're going to head to Floriana. It's one of the smallest islands that's visited in the Galapagos. It covers 67 square miles and has a population of approximately 100 people that live on the island. It also has the famous post barrel, which is this barrel that has an interesting history. So whalers would come and they would leave their letters and postcards in, well, probably just letters at that time, in the post barrel. And boats that were on their way back home would stop and pick up the mail. And then they would take them to whatever country, the relevant country, and actually send the mail from there. It began in the 19th century, and there's still letters and postcards placed in the barrel today. So you can go in there and you can look through and take any that are from your home country and take them back home and mail them. And also you can leave a letter or postcard in the barrel and see if it gets back to you at some point. So let's have a look at some of the animals here. We're going to talk about the Galapagos penguins. They're the only species of penguin that can be found north of the equatorial line. The reason that these birds can survive in this location is thought to be due to the Humboldt Current, which brings cool waters to the Galapagos. It is believed that the penguins got to the island from southern Chile, carried perhaps by a storm or strong ocean currents, and then the penguins adapted to survive in their warmer environment, losing fat and reducing size. Like Darwin said, adapt to survive. And flamingos on this island also. The Galapagos flamingo feeds on small crustaceans and tiny water plants. Their distinctive crooked beaks are pink with black tip, which they use to separate mud and silt from their food. An interesting fact is that flamingos can only eat with their heads upside down. Galapagos flamingos often stand on one leg. It's theorized that this is a resting position used to conserve body heat and reduce cardiac effort. Flamingos appear to have good hearing, but little or no sense of smell. They can be found throughout the islands, but the larger colonies are visible on Floriana, where we are, Isabella Island, Santiago, Rabida, and Santa Cruz. This is another guy that you will see a lot of throughout your journey to the Galapagos. This is a Sally Lightfoot crab, and they're just kind of everywhere. They're brightly colored coastal scavengers. They have extremely generalist diet, feeding on everything from sea lion placenta to other crabs. Makes them an important part of the ecosystem, and they provide services such as keeping the shore clean of any organic debris and eating ticks off marine iguanas. Oh, another very famous Galapagos resident, the green sea turtle, which gets its name because of the green color of its body fat. Green sea turtles are wonderfully adapted to life in the ocean. Their shells are lighter and more streamlined than those of their terrestrial counterparts, and their front and rear limbs have evolved into flippers, making them efficient and graceful swimmers, capable of swimming long distances in a relatively short period of time. Sea turtles have come up with an ingenious way to rid their bodies of salt they accumulate from the seawater in which they live. Just behind each eye is a salt gland. Their salt glands help sea turtles to maintain a healthy water balance by shedding large tears of excess salt. If a sea turtle appears to be crying, it's not usually cause for alarm, as the turtles are merely keeping their physiology in check, not because they're sad or upset. And this bigger island of Santa Cruz, which is the most populated island in an estimated 15,000 residents. The island is the second largest in the archipelago, and it covers a surface area of 986 square kilometers. Santa Cruz Island is important not just because it's the most populated island, but also because it's home to the Charles Darwin Research Station, which is where scientific research and conservation are continued. The facilities were inaugurated in 1964 so that scientists could use the station as a base for their research on the Galapagos Islands. For decades, CDRS has worked on conservation, restoration, and sustainable development projects to ensure that the archipelago is well managed. More than 100 scientists, educators, research assistants, support staff, and volunteers from all over the world have participated in this effort. One of the biggest Santa Cruz wildlife highlights are the giant tortoises that reside in the highlands of the island. You can take a trip up to one of the farms in the hills where the tortoises have settled. Okay, so let's talk. There's so many animals that we haven't actually touched on, but you'll just have to go to see the rest of them. But that was a good assortment of some of the main ones. So let's have a look at when you might want to go to the Galapagos. Their seasons are split into the cool and dry, which is June to November, and the warm and wet, which is December to June. With the warmer season being the best time to visit, because it's warmer, but also calmer seas and good underwater visibility, which are, you're going to do a lot of snorkeling and you're going to be on a boat most likely. So it's nice to have the calm seas and the visibility. And so if you look here, you can see that there is not a lot of fluctuation throughout the year. So even though it is better to go during the warm, wet season, it is really a year-round destination. Our tour goes in November, so you can see it's lovely weather with the average ocean temperature of 72 degrees and the air temperature between 79 and 70, so that's very comfortable. And not a ton of rain. I was there last time for 11 days. I don't think it rained a single day. So it's still not a ton of rain. Don't let the wet season kind of get you worried. And this is just a little video of the actual boat. Hopefully it works. I was having issues during the practice run. But this is our catamaran that we would be staying on to give you an idea of what that would be like. It's quite beautiful. You'll see. So the little dinghies are often what they'll use for wet landings, which a lot of the islands are. So you'll be getting off the boat into a little dinghy, and then they take you to the shore. So our tour does include all your meals. There is an extra charge for any alcoholic drinks. So all your meals, coffee, drinks are included, but the extra would be for anything alcoholic. Almost all the cabins on this catamaran are twin. We only have one single room on the catamaran. It's nice and spacious and very comfortable for a boat. Nice full bathrooms, which is always a big plus when you're on a boat. A lot of times the bathrooms can be quite tiny. And also a beautiful outdoor seating area to eat. Beautiful for those lovely sunsets you get. Hello, friend. You do get some water movement. You're definitely on a boat in the ocean, but it's not as bad as the being in, you know, the full ocean would be. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So, are there any questions? Let's have a look and see. Any questions from anyone? I see Deb. Deb Hicks, I've just opened your microphone, so if you should be able to click and unmute yourself, and you should be able to ask your question.
You know what? I didn't have a question. Sorry, I just hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, hello. Thank you for attending.
Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, how you doing, Marianne?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I don't know if you remember me, but I signed up with you 3 years ago, and I wasn't able to go that year because of some medical issues. And so I actually ended up going in 2018 with Denise Johnson.
Yes.
So is this one any different? Because I saw a lot of similarities, and I really want to go again. But I saw a lot of similarities to the trip that I took with Denise back in 2018.
So it does cover a couple of the same islands, but it does also have islands that you didn't see.
Okay.
So I think your itinerary in 2018 did a little bit more of the Western islands, and this does a little bit of the North, South, and Eastern islands.
So it's not, I guess, exactly the same.
It's not exactly the same. No, it's not. And the catamaran we use now is different. It's a lot nicer.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. We'd love to have you come with us again.
I would love to. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? I'm just going through. I have to kind of scroll through to see if anybody has their hands up. I don't see anybody. Okay, well, if you, oh, wait, Marion. I see, where's Marion gone? No. Oh, okay. If you do think of any questions, then please send us a message. Oh, I do see both. Connie.
My question is about how has the COVID-19 impacted the islands?
Well, they are open again, and actually I was just talking to our supplier about that today. So the islands, as of this point, are open, and they have pretty strict protocol going to visit right now. So you do have to have a PCR test to go visit now, and it has to be done, I think it was within 96 hours of entering. They're also regularly testing all the staff and the people in the island. So anybody that, because it is a national park, so they have very good regulation to kind of get into the islands and out. So anybody working there on any of the boats, any of the naturalists, every group has kind of a park ranger naturalist with them. So they're all getting tested every 2 weeks to make sure that they're good. So it's going well so far, and I'm sure our tour isn't till November of 2021, so in kind of the end of November. So I'm hoping by that time we've got vaccine that's working and viable, and travel's a lot even more stable and good to go than it is now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's try and see if anybody else, I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, there are a few questions just in there. Okay, so yes, someone's interested in traveling there for the wildlife, but not interested in the water activities. Can I easily get to the islands? Yes, so usually there's excursions twice a day. And they take us to the island. So you never have to get wet. If you're not interested in snorkeling or doing anything like that, you never have to go in the water if you don't want to. There's a lot, most of the activities are out walking around the island. So it's a very active type tour, because twice a day you're going to be going to the islands and usually kind of hiking and exploring on foot. Connie, I answered. Can't seem to find a button to speak to you. Oh, Daniela, if you raise your hand, I will see it, and then I can click for you to be able to talk. Oh, there we see. I see you. Oh. Okay. I keep seeing hands go up, and then I go to click on them, and the people disappear. I don't know if it's my system or. See if I make it bigger. Okay. Oh, wait here. Hi, Marion. How are you? Oh, let's try and unmute. Marion, if you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there we are.
I've been blabbing on. I have been there before. It's awakened such a bunch of memories for me. It just gets me excited. Your photos or your presentation is just amazing.
Oh, thank you, Marion.
Excellent. Yeah. So yes, it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for attending. Hope you are well.
I'm just fine.
Excellent. Well, you take care, and hopefully we'll see each other again on another trip.
You never know.
And Daniela. Hi, Daniela. I've unmuted you. Just click your unmute.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Wow, this is totally different system. I mean, everybody has different ones, but
Yes.
I would like to thank you very much for your presentation. I've been to Galapagos on a trip in 2018. So
Oh, nice.
all this brought very many memories, and I wanted to say that your presentation is very nice.
Oh, thank you.
I got that last picture you have there. Whatever that is, we went up that mountain above from the bay.
Yeah, I think it's a very iconic picture. I think everybody that's been to the Galapagos has this picture.
Right. And I would like to recommend to that lady that is not interested in snorkeling. I have never snorkeled, and I am now 78 years old. I can swim well, but I never snorkeled. But I snorkeled there, and I had a very great help from everybody, and I had a wonderful time. It was amazing what I saw underwater. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, snorkeling there is different too. And because the wildlife isn't like just not afraid. It doesn't run away from you as like it would in some places. So when you're snorkeling there, you get things come right up to you.
I know. I had these different schools of different fish. Some of them were just, going all around, and one of them even like some kind of a bigger fish came and kind of snuffed me right on the leg, and it was funny, and I really enjoyed that trip. I don't think, with my age, I don't have too many years to travel, so I'm trying to go various places.
Yeah.
But I would definitely recommend Galapagos to anybody. And like I said, for me, because I do love animals, this was a very, very beautiful trip,
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm interested actually in your company. This was the first time I saw you on Facebook, and I would like to see some of your other trips when they're, when you're doing it.
For sure. If you go on our website, you can see a list of tours that are coming up in the next couple of years. Also, if you go under gallery and look under videos, there's some previous travel talks that we have done to various different places. So you can click on those and have a look at some other travel talks if there's areas that kind of interest you and you want to see.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Who else? Oh, Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good. Very much enjoyed your presentation.
Oh,
I live in Ontario, Canada. This is the first one of your presentations that I guess have had access to, or that somehow came onto my Facebook page. So I think you answered one of the questions about going to your website to get more information about trips that are available. Are these accessible to Canadians?
Yes, we're actually a Canadian company.
Oh, okay.
So you will see all our pricing is in Canadian, which is very good for Canadians, but also good for our US women that travel with us, because compared to US pricing, it's quite a discount for them too. So yes, for sure. Everything is very accessible to Canadians.
Do most of your tours go out of Vancouver?
All our tours don't include flights, and that is because the women that are traveling with us are coming from all over Canada and the US.
Okay.
So rather than embedding flight costs in a tour that then we have to get everybody to wherever they go from, instead what we do is we don't include the flight costs, and then that way we can add on flights as what you need. And also it gives you the class of service you want. So some prefer to travel business class and some prefer to travel economy, or also if you want to use points, it allows you to do that.
Okay, perfect. I definitely will check out your website more, and that makes perfect sense, actually. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I think I saw some more questions at the bottom. What's the maximum number of women on the catamaran? I think it was, what's it? I think it's 15. I just had to count beds in my head. I think the maximum number is 15. So we might not have that many, but that's if all the beds, including the single, are taken. Is it okay for an amateur? Yes, absolutely okay for anyone. There's places that you can snorkel right off the beach. So if you're not comfortable in deeper water, then yes, you can just go right off the beach. And if you're more comfortable, or as you get more used to snorkeling and you want to venture out to some other points, they'll take you out in the Zodiac and drop you off to snorkel in some of the deeper water too. But yes, and all the snorkeling places are fairly calm water. So as like you can kind of see even in this picture, so you'd be in like little coves and areas like that. Oh, Melissa has another comment.
If it's okay for me to comment, Marianne.
Yes, yes.
For the person that was asking about the traveling as an American, for somebody that did this tour 2 years ago, I can honestly tell you the value that you get for the price is absolutely worth it, even with the airfare not being included. Because with airfares being a little bit lower now because of COVID, it would be, if you decide you want to do the trip, go ahead and book it, because they're being very generous. You know, airlines are being very generous with refunds. I've had 3 trips canceled this year and I've gotten full credit from my airlines. So just make sure you call ahead of time. And the pricing, just, I researched this trip for almost 20 years before I found a good fit with this travel club, and I have not found a better deal. Like, really and truly, this is a good trip. It's a wonderful time. The boat is beautiful, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So I give it 5 stars plus, because I just couldn't find anything else that could beat this value. So that's just my comment on that. From being a former participant. It's true. It's really true. And Marianne is great, by the way, because she's very flexible with you. If things come up like what happened with me, like, and they will work with you. It's a great travel club. I have no reservations whatsoever.
Oh, well, I appreciate, what a nice recommendation. Thank you so much.
I think I'll put that on your website.
Yeah,
if I didn't put it on your website, I will.
She's really just there. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, I think I'm just checking if there's anybody else, and it looks like I don't see anybody else. So yes, please, if you have any questions or anything, just message us. You can, there's a lot of different ways to get in touch. Once you're on our website, you can either, there's a chat right on the website, there's a toll-free phone number, and of course email. Any of those will work. So just, or even Facebook and Facebook Messenger. You can get in touch with us and ask any questions that you might have. Thank you everyone for attending, and I hope to see some of you on this fabulous tour. You would not regret it. And so I will wish everybody a great day and end up here. And thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.